Welcome to Gloria's Gab Live. Today I have with me Jesse Blanco, who's an author.
I am.
You're a video podcaster or blogger, and he's got the most interesting blog you'll ever read, and so much so that I think the cities that you write about should hire you as their PR person, because I'm telling you, I was reading his blog this morning and I was like, well, I have to go to Savannah. I have to. Okay, so he's written 2 books, and he's going to be at Books and Books. But before we start, I have to thank our sponsor. You know about that, because he's a TV guy. He knows about this. So South Florida PBS sponsors me week after week, and allows us to bring on people doing great things in our community. You apparently are doing a lot of great things for Southeast the United States with your
PBS. Is that still Channel 2 here?
It certainly is.
On TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if you're on cable, you just look for PBS.
Yeah.
But it's WPBS and also WXEL in West Palm.
Gotcha.
They're like headquartered in Boynton Beach.
I used to watch cartoons on there when I was a kid.
Didn't everybody?
Right.
And now they have the most amazing kids programs. That
PBS Kids is fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and they were having a huge campaign. I don't know if Da Vinci Experience. This is like an amazing thing that I'm going to do later today.
Okay.
So, more on that next time.
You get to interview Mona Lisa?
Oh, yeah, exactly. We get to be transported back to the Renaissance Italy at the time of the Da Vinci genius art, immersive through groundbreaking technology.
Very good.
Anyway, this is a fabulous thing that people are going to, line up to go to. So, anyway, so let's start with you. You have an event at Books and Books because you've written 2 books. So tell us the names of your books. He didn't even bother to bring the books with him.
I didn't bring a book.
But maybe.
No hope for me.
Nobody.
One of these days I'll make something of myself.
Exactly. You're a TV personality. People know you.
People know me. People know me in Savannah, particularly. Outside of Savannah, they know me less, which is good, which is why I like to leave Savannah sometimes to go play. So.
Well, I want everybody to go to eatitandlikeit.com.
Eatitandlikeit.com.
And start watching your podcast, because they are so entertaining.
Thank you. It's all part of a bigger plan. We are expanding. Eat It and Like It is wonderful. It's been very good to me for 15 years now. But we are expanding with a new brand, Eat It Florida. And so we are going to be in the state of Florida quite a bit. Which is why our book signing is Monday the 28th here in Coral Gables at Books and Books. But I came down Tuesday night. I'm here for a week, just kind of, kicking the tires, eating some off the beaten path food. We all know about the most popular places. I like to know about the places that are great, that don't get all the headlines. That's kind of how I've made a living on all that stuff.
For it. I'm going to give you a list.
Okay, please do. Lists are good. Lists are good. If I had bring books on my list, I'd have some books here right now. Books are good. Books are good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So tell us about. Okay. So you started doing your podcast.
Yeah.
And then how did it come about that you started writing books?
Well, a publisher called me. This goes back, my goodness, to 2021 or 2, I want to say. I actually got a call from a good friend of mine who said, hey, I just spoke to a friend of mine who's a rep for a Globe Pequot, which is a big old-time publisher out of Connecticut, I believe they are. And they are looking to do a book in Savannah. And I told her that if anybody was going to do it, write a book about Savannah, it had to be you, which was me.
Oh, yeah.
She said, I don't know if she's going to call you, but I told her, here's your number, here's his number, call him. And a few days later, I got an email. And we spoke the next day, and within about 15 minutes, we had an agreement for my first book. Yeah. And I've been in Savannah for 20 years total now. I'm a Miami boy. I went to Columbus High School here, and grew up in Coconut Grove. But I moved eventually after college to Savannah. And so that's been my home for 20 years. That's, almost half my life. And so, I know it like the back of my hand. For anyone who has visited Savannah, then you know how beautiful and quaint and charming it is. That's my backyard. Yeah. And so writing a Savannah book was fairly easy. Once it got going, because, if someone asked you to write a book about South Miami Coral Gables, you could probably do it in 2 weeks because you know it so well,
Exactly.
So same thing. And so I literally wrote the Savannah Food Crawls book in 9 days. But it's kind of, I trained for that for 20 years only to sit down and wrote it literally in one shot over 9 days. And in those 9 days, I did nothing but wake up, go to the gym, come home and write, have lunch, write, dinner, sleep for 9 straight days.
Had to go to the gym.
Got to go to the gym. Got to eat for a living. If I didn't go to the gym, my goodness, my cholesterol would be ridiculous.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I said, how did she do it?
Yeah.
Because that's a lot.
It's tough. It's tough.
And it's not like you can refuse a bite.
100%. And at the beginning, I've been doing this now 15 years. In the first 4, 5, 6 years, I was eating everything. I was up 60 pounds from when I started. Yeah. And I've since given back about 20 something, and I'd like to give back another 20, but it's now 15 years later. So getting rid of the 20 is incrementally harder. But anyway, I've run 2 New York City marathons trying to get rid of those 20.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm done with the marathon nonsense. So I wrote it, and it was very, very well received. And then they called me, the same publisher, a few months later, and said, "Hey, would you like to do one for Charleston?" And Charleston is one of the great food cities in America, for those who don't know.
Oh, I love Charleston.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Well, it's steeped in history, too. That's
100%. But the food scene is just so, it's world class in Charleston. Mm-hmm. Savannah's coming along. Charleston is world class. So it was intimidating. And so I almost said no. And it was my wife who said, "Well, you're doing this food thing. You've spent 10 years doing it, and you have an opportunity to write a book about Charleston's food scene, and you're going to say no?" No. Yeah. And so whether I wanted to or not, I had to. And so I spent 4-day weekends in Charleston, just walking the beat. And obviously, it's 2 hours away. Savannah and Charleston are 2 hours apart. So I've been to Charleston plenty. So I kind of had a good lay of the land, but I literally was going door to door eating. And
well, the interesting thing is, too, that you're not eating at the fine dining restaurants.
Nope.
You're picking those little special that nobody would know about.
Correct. Yeah. And that is, I wish I could say that was my influence on this, but the publisher, Glow Pequot, did not want me to include fine dining because
everybody's done that.
Right. And number one. And number two, it's Savannah Food Crawls, Charleston Food Crawls. You're not going to crawl fine dining. You will crawl a burger place or a pub or have a, potato skins or a Scotch egg or whatever it is. You can crawl, the less expensive places. Mm-hmm. You're not going to go to, dinner at, Morton Steakhouse and then go to 2 other places. That's just not how it's built. So they did not allow me fine dining. So as a result, I tell people, and they laugh at me, Savannah's best restaurants are not mentioned in my book.
Yeah, well,
because they're finer dining, and you don't crawl them. And so it's like, well, that was the assignment. I did the assignment, but I guess I need to write another book, Fine Dining Savannah.
But yeah, you could.
Yeah.
But you've got broader appeal when you're making it affordable for everyone.
Correct.
And it's not to say that people can afford fine dining.
Right.
Don't enjoy.
Of course. I do.
Coming in shorts and not having to.
My hat on backwards. I mean, you should see me how I walk around Savannah when I'm obviously not working, but I'm out in flip-flops and my Miami Hurricane shirt and my Miami Dolphins hat on backwards. Everybody knows how I roll sports-wise, and I go and I'll eat barbecue and I'll eat fried chicken and I'll do all of that stuff. But I do love me some 4-course, 5-course James Beard-esque type food.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a smaller pool of people who that appeals to. You know, I could post on Instagram at Eat It and Like It. Anyone who wants to follow, I could post. You know, a beautiful dish of, you know, sushi or seafood and you know, from an expensive restaurant, and I'll get, you know, a moderate response. But if I post a plate of fried chicken, mac and cheese, and collard greens, it'll go off. Beep.
Oh no, guys! If people need to go to your blog. Yeah. I'm telling you, there are some mouth-watering pictures, and I was getting hungry this morning going through them.
Yeah, try being me. It's funny when I put the Savannah book together. There were some restaurants that I had to go, as I described, check the oil. And, I haven't been to this place in about 2 or 3 years. Let me go back and make sure it is what it is. And okay. Yeah. But a lot of the places I had been, and so when I was putting it together and putting all the pictures in place to send to the publisher, because the format is theirs. Yeah. I was like, oh, I could eat that. Oh, I could eat that. Oh, I could. Yeah, it haunted me for a while. But,
I bet.
Yeah, it still does.
Yeah,
it still does. When your stomach starts grumbling, it's like, ooh, yeah.
So the 2 books that are, you're going to talk about both books tonight at your
Monday.
Evening with, Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
No. Yeah, but when you do your thing,
Correct.
Your Evening with Jesse Blanco.
Correct. Monday at Books and Books, the 28th.
What's the time again?
I believe it's 7 o'clock. It might be 6:30 or 7 o'clock.
Okay. And it's a free event.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the Books and Books in Coral Gables, and why I chose that one, I would love to share. I'm an alum, Columbus High School here on 87th Street, but as I mentioned already, I grew up down in the Grove, and so there was a group of us that lived down that way, the Coral Gate area, if you will, of Miami, and Miracle Mile, and that was our neighborhood, and so every morning we would take the 24 bus, and it would stop at the Coral Gables bus terminal. You remember? I'm sure you remember the Coral Gables bus terminal, the old Coral Gables.
It's a building now.
Yeah, but I remember the Coral Gables bus terminal, and right across the street on Aragon, I believe it was.
Yeah, it's still there.
Is that same spot? Yeah, was Books and Books.
Well, no, it's not still there. They moved.
They moved.
They're big now.
But the original Books and Books.
Right.
I saw it, my whole life growing up, and so when I got this book deal and I was going to write Savannah Food Crawls, no joke, within hours, I'm driving around and I'm I'm going to write a book. And I thought, this was 2-3 years ago, I thought, how cool would it be to be able to try to have a book signed